All the latest now with your ITV late news this Saturday night.
Rishi Sunak leads the race to become Prime Minister after securing the backing of over 100 Tory MPs. But Boris Johnson is back, and his allies claim he too has the numbers. But can he unite the party?
His premiership came to an end for a reason. There were serious issues, and some of those are unresolved.
Also, Russia orders residents of Kherson to leave immediately amid warnings Ukraine will try to retake the city. Decades on, finally, some compensation to victims of the contaminated blood scandal. And she's climbed every mountain, well, in Scotland at least, the amazing 10-year-old Munro Bagger.
This is ITV News with Gamal Fahnbulleh.
Good evening. Rishi Sunak leads the contest tonight to be the next Conservative leader and Prime Minister. Despite not yet formally announcing he's running, well over 100 Tory MPs have thrown their support behind the former Chancellor. Boris Johnson is also yet to declare he's in the race, but he has returned from the Caribbean and spent most of the day talking to his supporters, who claim he too has reached the threshold of 100 MPs. The pair are even reported to have spoken directly to each other tonight, prompting speculation they could be exploring ways to reach a deal to unify the party. The only candidate to announce she is running, Penny Mordaunt, is trailing far behind in support. Here's our political correspondent, Tom Sheldrick.
Right now, it's all about who's got the numbers at Westminster. The candidates need nominations from 100 Conservative colleagues.
Morning.
Former Chancellor Rishi Sunak already has more than that publicly backing him, including Robert Jenrick, who campaigned for Boris Johnson during the 2019 leadership contest and was in his cabinet.
His premiership came to an end for a reason. There were serious issues, and some of those are unresolved, like the Privileges Committee's investigation, which I think would be a major distraction. I think the country now want to see a stable, serious government.
Trade Secretary Kemi Badenoch, who's popular on the right of the party, also wrote this evening, "What we need is not nostalgia for the cavalier élan of 2019. We need patient, honest, competent Conservative virtue. At a time of great uncertainty, what we need is the disciplined approach Rishi brings to government." Boris Johnson is back from his holiday, and his campaign team have claimed he also has more than 100 supporters, though there are fewer names on the record. Boris Johnson was involved in scandal after scandal when he was Prime Minister. How can people trust him?
Well, Boris Johnson has apologised for the mistakes that he made when he was in office, and some of my parliamentary colleagues, some of the people who called for him to resign just at the start of summer, have now gone on record to say they want Boris back.
I worked in factories and pubs. I know about the cost of living.
Cabinet Minister Penny Mordaunt has released this new campaign video, but looks destined to finish third again. She's currently a long way short of the 100 Conservative MPs needed to nominate her. Do you think she's got a chance?
Yes, we're confident we're going to make the numbers. We're working hard to persuade our colleagues this weekend. But our simple message to colleagues is that time and time again, Penny proves the most popular candidate.
A general election still looks some way off, despite the calls of opposition parties. But the residents of Downing Street will have changed again by this time next week. Tom Sheldrick, ITV News.
Well, with Tory MPs split as ever over who should be the next Prime Minister, it could be Conservative members who make the choice once again. Sej Al-Karia has been speaking to voters in the Conservative Health seat of Newbury about who they'd like to see take charge of the country.
Well done now.
While the bets being laid at Newbury races today were on the horses, racegoers had plenty to say on the potential Tory leadership candidates who may be jockeying for position.
It's absolutely farcical. The fact that they're even considering Boris Johnson to be Prime Minister again, having booted him out, just doesn't make any sense.
Who do you think should take it?
They should have gone with Rishi Sunak, I reckon.
Would you be up for a Boris comeback?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, at least it was steady, at least it was consistent.
How can you resign
and do so many things wrong and then still have the party want you to be the Prime Minister. I think if that's the best you've got, then I'm kind of like, please, all of you resign.
Those views echoed in the town centre pub down the road, where they were pulling plenty of pints, but not any punches.
Well, I think it's a bit crazy, and I don't think we should have got rid of Boris. I think Boris should really come back and sort his mess out.
For me, there should be a general election, and people will get to vote. I think we can take it from there.
Any 3 bunches for £5 a day?
Deals on flowers at the Saturday market this morning, but for some here, a no deal if Boris Johnson was to return.
What do you make of a Boris comeback?
I think it'd be a complete disaster. Rishi, because he's got a financial brain.
Boris.
Why?
Why? He's very charismatic. I trust him, and I think he relates to the public really well.
Despite individual preferences, one thing everyone we spoke to agreed on: the country needs stability, and fast. Sejal Karia, ITV News, Newbury.
And Tom is with me now. Tom, there is one full day left for Tory MPs to line up before their preferred candidates.
Yes, that's right. The deadline to get those nomination papers in is 2 p.m. on Monday, so there is a lot of horse trading going on, and potentially a big development in that regard. It's been reported that there's been a meeting between Boris Johnson and Rishi Sunak this evening. That would be quite something in itself, given the bitterness surrounding Mr Sunak's resignation as Chancellor in the summer, and it suggests that there could be some kind of deal between them that could bring an end to this leadership contest even quicker, though that there's no confirmation of that tonight, and it still does feel quite unlikely.
Yeah, let's see what happens. OK, Tom, thank you. Russian-installed authorities in the southern Ukrainian city of Kherson have ordered residents to leave immediately over fears of a Ukrainian military offensive to reclaim the area. It comes as Russia continues to target Ukraine's energy grid, leaving more than 1 million households without power. Ian Woods reports.
Once again, civilians are on the move, forced to flee their homes as war comes to their neighbourhoods. But while millions of Ukrainians headed west when Russia invaded last spring, this evacuation is to the east as winter and the Ukrainian army approaches. These pictures provided by the Russian government showed people who travelled more than 100 miles from Kherson to Russian-annexed Crimea. This woman said heavy shelling had begun there and they're afraid for their lives. While another Russian speaker said she's going to stay with friends and family in Moscow because the evacuation changed from advisory to compulsory. That's because the Ukrainian military is preparing an assault to retake the city, part of a province which the Russians now claim as their own. Russia's response has been to target infrastructure throughout Ukraine. A third of the country's power stations have now been destroyed. Electricity blackouts are now a regular occurrence, yet another hardship to endure. But as this man pointed out, they'd previously been under occupation and hiding in a basement. Many still have to do that when sirens warn of more missile attacks. Stoicism is a quality which is much needed as the war enters its 8th month with no end in sight. Ian Woods, ITV News.
There were fears for the health of China's former president Hu Jintao today after he was very publicly removed from the ruling Communist Party Congress. 2 officials were seen pulling a seemingly confused Hu from his seat next to President Xi Jinping, who did not intervene. Xi is expected to be granted a third 5-year term as leader tomorrow. And Iran's state TV has reported that 57 protesters were arrested in the southeastern city of Zahedan as demonstrations against the government continue. Protests were also reported at several universities in Tehran. The government has confirmed it will pay out at least £400 million in compensation to people made ill by infected blood supplies in the 1970s and 80s. Thousands of victims and the partners of those who died will receive £100,000 each by the end of this month. Some have waited decades for compensation, but others still won't be eligible. Charlie Frost reports.
Terror of the plague.
Headlines that have haunted Mark Ward's life. He was 14 when he was diagnosed with AIDS, a result of being treated with contaminated blood in the 1970s.
The PTSD, the anxiety that I now live with, it's destroyed my life.
Devastation the government is finally acknowledging. By the end of the month, it says all victims who are still alive and the partners of those that have died should receive £100,000 interim compensation.
It's a big figure, but when you break it down, it works out at £166 per month. So to live with full-blown AIDS, being told you're going to die, the stigma, the fear, £100,000 is nothing.
But bereaved families will get even less. Nicholas Calder died in 1999, aged 25. He had HIV.
How did it feel to lose your son to something that shouldn't have happened in the first place? He shouldn't have been given contaminated blood.
I've got no words to sum up the feelings for that. We just need acknowledgement for our children, to know that their lives mattered.
At least 2,400 people have already died. This compensation, finally some form of accountability for some. But campaigners won't stop until there's recognition for all. Charlie Frost, ITV News.
Sport, and England are all but through to the quarter-finals of the Rugby League World Cup. They made it 2 wins out of 2 in the group stage by beating France 42 points to 18 in Bolton. Wing Dom Young scored 2 of England's 7 tries. England will win the group if they beat Greece next week as expected. In the Premier League, Chelsea looked to have all 3 points secured against Manchester United until an equalising goal deep into stoppage time from United's Casemiro ended it 1-1. Earlier, Liverpool had a shock, losing 1-0 to Nottingham Forest. Their victory lifts them off the bottom of the table. Finally, have you ever bagged a Munro or even heard that phrase? It's a climbing term for scaling a Scottish peak that's 3,000 feet or higher. And this weekend, a 10-year-old girl is celebrating reaching the summit of all 282 of them. Young has been bagging Munros with her dad since she was 4. When she found she'd done 100, she set herself the challenge of completing them all before finishing primary school.
I didn't really know if I was going to climb them all because we just started with Ben Rivers, but then it just went on from that. On my last runs, we placed 74-mile-an-hour winds.
That's it. The weather forecast is next. But from all of us here, enjoy what's left of the weekend. Bye-bye.
Today we'll see warmer temperatures moving in from the east, especially around tea time. Heinz Beans sponsors ITV National Weather.
Hello, hope you're having a lovely weekend so far. Some rather unsettled weather, I'm afraid, to end this weekend and start the new week. It remains mild and breezy, but we're due some heavy showers across many parts of the country tomorrow, and within them lots of water, so perhaps the risk of localised flooding in a few spots during the day. Heavy showers are developing in the southwest of the country now, but for many of us a mild and breezy night. And during the course of tomorrow morning, the early hours will begin to see heavy showers pushing up from the southwest and no doubt some rumbles of thunder. The Met Office are catering to this with a yellow warning for thunderstorms tomorrow. As those bands of showers track northwards across the country, they'll deposit lots of rain on the roads. There's likely to be lots of spray, difficult driving, and a few spots will see localised flooding through the day. Before the showers, northern parts of Scotland will enjoy some sunshine, and behind the downpours, things will brighten up into the afternoon. It's breezy, but very mild, with a top temperature of around 19 degrees tomorrow.
Heinz Beans sponsors ITV National Weather.
Look at this fella here. That's me in that photograph.
Why you? This is your national action.
I get frustrated. Welcome to the Islamic Republic of Bradford.
What's going on, Robbie?
Nothing. If they are planning something, we won't know about it until it's too late.
We need that walk-in.
The Walk-In continues Monday at 9 on ITV, or watch the full series now on ITV Hub.
Why do I need a shower? I've been out in the rain.
The faster you go, the sooner you'll be out. You'll save water too.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Hello there. Now for the weather across the northwest of England and the Isle of Man in a bit more detail. And it has been quite mild and changeable over the last few days, and that's the way it continues as well over the next few. Look at that. Glorious sunshine today, but also rather choppy at the coast, and showers always in the mix over the next 24 to 48 hours. It is exceptionally messy at the moment. Low pressure always anchored out to the southwest or the west of us, flinging these showers through. Tuesday looks like being the best day, the driest day of the next few, when we'll find ourselves with a bit of a respite from the systems as a bit of high pressure builds in there. Rewinding then to the next few hours, an increasing risk of showers through the early hours of the morning, pushing south to north. They'll pulse through, a little bit breezy. It's a mild feeling night, a bit of mist and hill fog forming in places, but that all clears by tomorrow morning. Talking of which, the sun is up at 7:53, sets just before 6 in the evening. If you're up early enough, and you will have to be up quite early, it'll be dry, but it won't be long before this band of heavy thundery rain pulses northwards. Could be 10 to 20 millimetres of rainfall on that. It'll clear to sunny spells and showers behind it. Always a bit breezy and the heaviest of the rain, and temperatures a little bit fresher feeling maybe than today. And then Monday, sunny spells and showers. Tuesday, the driest day. Wednesday, rain clearing to sunny spells and showers and mild. Bye-bye.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Embrace every moment with hearing aids from just £29 per month, interest-free. Book your free hearing check today at bootshearingcare.com.
Zoflora cleans homes beautifully. Try our new biodegradable antibacterial cleaning wipes.
We don't always hit the jackpot, but if we don't take the shot, we'll never hit the target. You win some, you lose some. That's why at Mr. Q, the online casino, they've got hundreds of games where it's not all about winning, but about playing for the fun of it. So, get 20 free spins on your first deposit and